don't know if it's me, but I've noticed that there's been a certain increase in the negative tone of Roland Martin on his show. And don't get me wrong, a lot of the positions that he takes, I agree with, but again, especially today, I've been holding my fire for the past couple of days on a bunch of things, waiting to see exactly what happens with this executive order with the HBCUs and what Trump's going to say as far as that meeting before the both houses of Congress, you know, et cetera, et cetera. But in this particular clip, for some reason, it seems like Roland, instead of being pretty much on an even keel, you can kind of feel his attitude creep into his questioning as far as the three heads of the HBCUs that appear on his show. And it appears to me like he was looking for a reason to jump in on them. So anyway, check this out and see, you know, for yourself, form your own opinion.
More than 60 HBCU presidents crowded into the Oval Office for a brief meeting with President Donald Trump yesterday, a lot of the administration for a much-needed increase in support through federal contracts and funding. Some HBCU supporters have questioned Trump's motives in bringing school leaders to the White House, including whether it was an attempt to show up former President Obama's own contributions to HBCUs. But for many, including some of the presidents who attended, it was important to have a seat at the table. After the Oval Office gathering, Vice President Mike Pence held a listening session with HBCU leaders, pledging the administration's full attention and support for the more than 100 colleges and universities that represent 3% of the country's 2- and 4-year institutions. He told them, beginning today, this administration is committed to making sure that our historically black colleges and universities get the credit and the attention they deserve. Our administration, at the president's direction, is working to find new ways to expand your impact. We want to partner with you, so get ready for a great and energetic partnership in the days ahead. White House Press Secretary Sean Spicer explained how the executive order Trump will sign today will boost HBCUs by connecting them with various federal agency programs.
Now, just for information's sake, I haven't heard about the specific executive order that he was supposed to have signed yesterday, and I'm still looking for it. I could be wrong, I could have missed it, but normally when you have an executive order that I guess should get a lot of attention, there are cameras in the Oval Office where when he does the signing, and he does mention a few words about it. I didn't see any of that yesterday. Anyway, that's my take. Here's Spencer, and then let's continue.
There's programs within each of the departments, the Department of Education, the Department of Housing and Urban Development, that affect grants or programs or direct funding that go to HBCUs for various different things, whether it's construction projects or teaching programs or mentorship programs, whatever it is, they span throughout the entire government. And I think that what we are committed to doing is ensuring that there is a high-level understanding and commitment to make sure that there's a direct pipeline to the President of the United States, that those programs are being executed in a way that's benefiting the future of HBCUs and the various projects and teaching that goes on there.
Now, Sean Spencer is right, okay? There are tons of programs, hundreds of millions of dollars worth of programs that are funneled out. They're research programs, grants, to do various things throughout the various agencies in the government. And for the most part, the HBCUs were, I'll just say it, frozen out from being able to participate in those grant programs. What I'm hoping is going to happen based on Mr. Spicer's statements, is that the HBCUs are no longer going to be frozen out, and they will in fact be targeted at least for a portion. Now the number that I heard was like 5%, but 5% of the programs is a lot of money. Okay, that's a lot of funding to help both in acquiring, obviously, professors, infrastructures for the schools, help for students, etc. So if that is in fact the case and they follow through, and that number is actually achieved, that would be a good thing for the HBCUs. Now, I will say this, and a lot of people don't know it, but Ronald Reagan obviously knew about HBCUs, been around a long time. But what he had done was he had a report done semi-annually on what was going on with the HBCUs as far as government funding, things of that nature. After Reagan, that, for whatever reason, got dropped. And now hopefully that in itself is going to be resurrected. But anyway, I'm just throwing some hopefully helpful information in there for you. Let's continue.
Folks, HBCU leaders will meet with Republican lawmakers in an all-day conference that will include the controversial new Secretary of Education, Betsy DeVos. I have a couple of words about her later. Joining us to discuss this, Juliet Bell, President of the University of Maryland, Eastern Shore, Rick Galat, President of Grambling State University, and Kent J. Smith, President of Langston University of Oklahoma. Folks, how you doing?
Good morning.
First of all, how long was the meeting?
Well, we were at the executive building and in the Oval Office for total probably a couple of hours. Actually, in the Oval Office, 10, 15 minutes.
And the assessment of this, what was actually discussed? Was an opportunity to actually dialogue with Trump?
Not directly with the president. And that was more of a meet and greet, and then we had more of a dialogue with the Vice President Pence.
Would you have preferred to actually have a discussion with the president as opposed to only step into the Oval Office for a photo?
Well, I think the opportunity to see the president face to face and to hear what he had to say in regard to his commitment to HBCUs was very important. So I think there will be time for future dialogue.
Okay, so right there, he's setting up, I'm not going to call it a false narrative, but he's setting up his argument that the meeting with the president was basically a photo op, okay, and was counterproductive. I'm not even going to say counterproductive. It didn't produce anything. Counterproductive would be producing a negative outcome. Not producing anything is just not producing anything. So it was neither productive nor counterproductive. But he's putting the thoughts in your mind, as far as I'm concerned, that are negative, okay? Not positive, not neutral, but negative.
And did they commit to that future dialogue directly with the president?
Yeah, and prior to going into the Oval Office, we also had the opportunity to meet with his chief of staff, was in there, a number of his other top...
previous was Steve Bannon, his chief strategist there?
Yes.
Yes.
And Kellyanne Conway was in there. So, I mean, they were all in there, and the message was consistent that they are interested, this president is interested in a meaningful partnership with HBCUs. And so, again, each one after another, expressed the president's desire to have a meaningful partnership with HBCU. So we're certainly encouraged by that consistent messaging.
All right, now I might be okay with Priebus, and I might be okay with Conway, but if Bannon said that, I think that was just lip service, basically, and not even lip service. He was just pretty much straight out lying, but that's my opinion anyway.
Black History Month statement about HBCUs. He took a shot at President Obama, saying that President Barack Obama essentially ignored HBCUs and their concerns.
I personally do not share that view. I certainly believe President Obama, in some ways, was helpful to HBCUs, and I'll tell you, as a
Okay, he just prefaced his statement. I'm going to ride on the pony that says President Obama really wasn't all that helpful on HBCUs. And I do know for a fact that in various budgets that he proposed decreased funding for the HBCUs. That's my opinion. Now, obviously, I understand that these people don't want to throw President Obama under the bus. So that's why they said that he was very helpful in some things. The flip side of that would be that he was not very helpful in a lot of things. But again, they are trying not to throw Obama under the bus, and I can understand that.
University president, there's always more that can be done. But I would not certainly have the view that President Obama did very little or nothing for HBCUs.
Yeah.
I think there's always an opportunity for improvement, and I see this as an opportunity for the university presidents to be at the table at the beginning of the discussion to express what our interests and concerns are.
I agree.
Well, and Roland, you met Michael Meadows, my SGA president, last week at Grambling. They were interested in me being here to represent their interests, not to look at what may or may not have happened in the previous administration. The students at Grambling, our alumni association, our faculty senate, all encouraged me to be here, to be in the room and a part of this conversation. And I think I can, say that the other fellow presidents are the same way. That you can't have an impact unless you are in the room. So at least we're encouraged that this opportunity has come about.
He will sign an executive order today. Any idea what's going to actually be in that executive order?
Well, certainly the expectations have been set, and certainly Johnny Taylor with the Thurgood Marshall College Fund has done a tremendous job of creating this opportunity. So the expectations for increases in year-round Pell Grant, infrastructure investments, all those things that are critical to our mission have been expressed as expectations, and certainly we feel very optimistic of what that might look like.
Did Vice President Pence make any commitment when it came to the Parent Plus loan?
He did not. He did not make any directly.
Did anyone challenge him or ask him about that?
Not directly to him, but we did with all the rest of the cabinet that was there. That is a request that we have collectively as HBCU presidents to not only increase the Pell Grant dollar amounts, but to move back toward year-round Pell Grants. When you look at our constituency, over 75% of HBCU students receive the Pell Grant in some shape or form, and so that's an important issue for us.
And now, what did they say in regards to that?
They seem to be receptive. Now, I would say we're cautiously optimistic, and the devil's going to be in the details, and we'll see what comes our way.
So you have other meetings as well. So what are you hoping to get across to Republican lawmakers and Democratic lawmakers? Because at the end of the day, Congress will determine the budget.
That's right.
Absolutely. And I think one of the interests that I have is to ensure that the Republican Congress recognizes the importance of HBCUs, not only to the Black community, but to the nation as a whole, and the contributions that we've made and the value proposition that the institutions bring.
And from a political standpoint, if items are included in the executive budget that then goes to Congress, you certainly have a much greater chance of seeing some of these things funded, with it being in the executive budget of a Republican president and Republican House and Senate. So certainly my Congressman, Ralph Abraham, is very supportive of Grambling State University and has expressed his interest in moving our agenda forward as well. So we're encouraged by at least that level of support.
All right, then we'll surely appreciate it. Thanks so much, and we'll see what happens with this executive order and what the details are.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Thanks for
much.
having us.
All right, so at the very beginning, I noticed a tone, but with the answers that these three presidents of various HBCUs gave and the positions that they took, they basically backed him down somewhat. So hopefully, like I said, something positive does come out of this.